Bravo, everybody, bravo, or as we say in the theater, brava. I will never say that again, I'm sorry. Anyway, hello everybody, welcome back to our weekly Fruits Basket Season 2 discussion video. Today we're here to talk all about episode 23, it's Cinderella-ish, but before we get into the video proper, quick reminder, if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button. I know a lot of you that watch these are not subscribed, what's that about? Hit that sub button, I'd appreciate it, and if you're already subscribed, consider hitting that join button to get yourself a nifty badge and some emotes to use in the premieres. Anyway, if that sounds cool to you, do the thing, but without further ado, we're gonna jump into the thing. Alright, so this week's episode of Fruits Basket is everything that I wanted it to be. I'll admit I was vaguely nervous, right? Because I was like, how are they gonna do the Cinderella-ish thing? Outside of the beach, I think this is the thing that fans were most excited about for Season 2. Like, I remember manga fans being like, there are a few things that I gotta see. I gotta see the beach. And then after the beach arc ended, a lot of people are like, I think the play is going to be this season, so hopefully we can see that. So I'm like, okay. So this is like, yeah, the second most hyped thing, I think, this season, or at least the second most hyped thing this season. And it absolutely lived up. I was a little bit nervous that it wouldn't, but it totally did. There's a lot to this play that I really want to dig into, and I think the biggest, or not the biggest, but one of the more interesting things to me is that there was like legitimately plausible and solid set design. Like, now, keep in mind too, it's a high school play, so it's not like it's gonna have like the chandelier from Phantom of the Opera or anything. You know, I wasn't expecting that. But I also wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. Like, they actually did do a really solid job at set design. In the set designs that I've had, it's always been like one set, right? Like, it's always been just one set. One cool looking set, but one set. Whereas here, they actually were smart and like transition scenes by having people pick up the trees and then walk with the characters to make it look as though the trees are moving. Like, it was legitimately very solid set design, and I was so impressed by that. I loved the cardboard, like, especially, like, my favorite thing in when you get to see, like, when you get to be on stage is seeing that the sets are all, like, 2D shapes, right? I love that. Ironically enough, a lot of the Mario games do that. Like, a lot of, like, the Mario Party games, like, show you that, like, even in, like, the Mario RPGs, it shows you that, like, the world is, like, a play, so you see, like, sets, like, everything's 2D. It looks really solid, and in FruBa in particular, I was like, oh my god, this looks great. Like, the set design was legitimately very cool. I like seeing, like, when you see certain angles that it's flat. It's really cool. I don't know. I just thought the set design was pretty damn great considering what it was, which is just a high school play. Also, the wardrobe department, absolutely on point. Aya and Mine deserve huge kudos. Like, everybody, I think my favorite designs for everybody, and it's hard to pick, but if I had to pick my top 3, I'd say Yuki looks amazing. Yuki looks absolutely fantastic. Hana's dress is perfect. I loved Hana's dress. It was fantastic. And it's the callback for when Hana and Mine were like, let's make the dress black. And Mine's like, yes, a kindred spirit. It's like, oh my god. Like, I loved Hana's dress. The perfect Cinderella dress. There is no Cinderella dress better than Hana's dress. From now on, I will judge every Cinderella dress off Hana's dress. Like, I will judge every princess dress off Hana's dress. Is it as good as Hana's dress from FruBa? If not, it ain't worth it. That dress is flawless, absolutely perfect for Hana. And ironically enough, even though I know how much she must have hated being in the outfit, I thought Kyo looked great. Like, Kyo looked fantastic with, like, the ponytail and everything. I was like, bruh, they made you look fantastic. Like, Kyo's outfit is great. Like, absolutely great. Kyo is the prince. The prince that was promised has delivered, and it was fantastic. I absolutely loved the outfits. Now, I will say this. I will save you the hour of design time because honestly, like, all the characters basically had a change of wardrobe, so I could technically go into all the characters. And I'm not gonna, basically, because if you're watching this on the day it releases, there's already a totally separate video that I'll talk about at the end of this video that is its own design time. So I'm starting to kind of branch into that. Not that I will separate design time from future videos. I'm just saying it would be long enough, like going into all the designs in this week's episode, like all the wardrobe changes, it would be long enough that it would warrant its own video. But at the same time, you kind of don't need one because all of the specific color choices for the outfits are the color choices that we've already talked about before for a lot of these characters. Like Yuki's white and blue, Kyo's mostly red and orange, like Hana's all black. Like it's pretty much the colors you'd expect from this cast. So I don't really feel like I need to go into like what the colors of the outfits represent. You kind of already know. That said, it's what makes it great. It's their basic, like it's the basic spectrum of colors that you're used to associating with these characters, but now they're just fancier. And I loved it. It was fantastic. And also I loved the way the narrator had to keep prodding along all of our favorites. And honestly, at first, like, I felt stupid because as the narrator's just like, and then the prince like refused to dance with everybody. He was like, no. And then when he has to say no to Toru, he's like, and he's like, and then the prince said no, right? You know, like the narrator being like, stop it, move along, right? Like, and then Cinderella, like, regretfully couldn't make the dresses, and she's like, I guess I can't make the dresses. And he's like, I said regretfully, like, you know what I mean? Like, where the narrator's like trying to push the characters into saying and reacting certain ways. It was really, really funny. And I legitimately felt stupid because I thought that was the point. Like, I thought that's what the play was doing. And I think that it's so funny to me that if you were a general audience member, you wouldn't know that they're going off script. Like, you would just assume that the point of the play is that the narrator is like fate itself trying to push the characters into certain directions, but the characters are outright refusing. Like, if it's a comedy, and you can even see that in the crowd shots as well. Like, you see members of the crowd like kind of laughing along, and like sometimes they're a little bit confused by why Hana is like the weirdest Cinderella they've ever seen. But for the most part, it's down to the narrator to really push the characters in certain directions to get the play to keep going. And honestly, I was gonna say, like, if I had the chance, this would never happen in a million years, especially in today's age, but I would legit love to perform Cinderella-ish. Like, I would like to be the director of Cinderella-ish. Like, that would be really funny. It would be so specific to FruBa fans only, though, but it would be really fun to actually do, like, a live performance of Cinderella-ish with this narrator desperately trying to keep the story together. It was just fantastic. I absolutely friggin' loved the play. And funny enough, too, there were people, if you recall, trying to tell me that's like, oh, Cinderella has nothing to do with Fruits Basket, except it has a huge part to play in this week's episode, but yeah, totally not, right? Again, I hate to say, I told you so, but I told you so. Except I don't hate to say it, I love it. It's actually my favorite thing. Anyway, there's a lot of subtle nods. Well, there's like one huge one, but there's some subtle nods towards Kyo's confinement during the play, and it comes to a head when Hana kind of calls him out. And it's from Hana, Toru, and Yuki, where they all say something specific that is so clearly directed at Kyo being confined, right? Now, in universe, they're talking about do you really want to be locked up in that castle, right? Like, do you really want to be forever separated, right? Like, and that's again like a Cinderella thing. Like, do you want to stay confined in this situation, or do you want to break free into something better? Again, I told you so. But they have this moment with Kyo, but it happens on stage. Now, again, if you're an audience member, you won't know this. But the somas in the crowd absolutely take notice of this. Like, again, you see like a shot of other characters in the crowd just sort of like smiling and nodding along, but then you see like Haru, Momiji, like you see them being like, oh shit, like they know exactly what is being spoken about during the play. And you double know this because at one point, Momiji even says like, oh no, I know what like Uo was talking about. Like, I know who Uo Otani was referencing. Like, it doesn't I'm not some great detective, although he does call himself that. But he's like, I'm not a great detective. I knew who she was talking about. So, like, the Somas in the crowd are very aware what is actually being discussed, but the crowd itself is just like, haha, funny play, right? So I did think that was such a subtle, like, not subtle, but, like, such an interesting choice on Takuya Sensei's part to have the characters, like, legit talk about, like, Kyo's confinement without actually addressing it. It was really, really solid. I even wrote down, like this scene in particular might be one of my favorite scenes of the season, because it was just so, like, the dialogue was really sharp, although Toru's is more stuttery, but that's the point. I even wrote down some of it. So Hana saying, like, do you plan to keep deceiving yourself forever inside the castle, locked inside until you die? Right, now, Hana and Uo don't know, right? At least not to my knowledge. Don't know about Kyo. So I think Hana was not necessarily referencing the literal confinement that Kyo faces, instead just like the metaphorical one of never telling Toru how he feels. And Kyo fires back with, so what if I do, does that hurt anyone else, right? And again, if I could say a specific motif that runs through the show, and it's my favorite song to reference when I'm talking about my favorite ships, but it's who you think you're kidding, he's the earth and heaven to you. All right, that whole song from Hercules, only replace he with they, because both Toru and Kyo just will not notice that they got it bad. Whoa, like just they won't say they're in love, right? And I'm like, just say it, just say it, just say it, right? It's like, just say the thing. But I also don't want you to say the thing right now because the suspense is fantastic. But yeah, Hana basically saying, like, do you want to be locked inside that castle until you die? And Kyo saying, like, does it, so what if I do? Does it hurt anyone else? And that spurs Toru into action, saying, like, sorry, just forget I said that, right? Because she realizes she just totally interrupted the play. But that floors Kyo, because he's like, I don't want what? Right? Because he's like, oh, shit. Like all of a sudden, like, oh, she knows. Oh, God. Right? Like, and she doesn't want me to go. But, like, does she actually not want me to go? Or was she going to say something else? Oh, my God, what is happening? Right? Like, Kyo's like, oh, no. Like, this really throws Kyo off. And Toru obviously doesn't want to bring that up in the middle of a school play, so she's not really going to talk about it. And she's nervous, too, because, you know, she's Toru, and nervous is her life. But, like, it is what it is. And what I loved, I think my favorite line of this whole scene is Yuki saying, Prince, I won't ask you what you wish for. Make your own wish come true with your own strength. And that is, like, and when he, like, gets real close, right? It's Yuki saying, like, bro, I'm not going to ask you what you want because I already know what you want. And I'm not going to help you specifically. I need you to make this happen yourself. I'm not going to force you into doing this. If you want to be with Toru, you be with Toru. I'm going to help her realize those feelings. I'm going to keep her safe and make sure that she's okay. But if you want this, you gotta work for this, right? Like, that was him. Like, again, I really don't think that was, like, part of the play. It very well may have been, but to me, that was Yuki saying, like, dude, if you really want this, I can't help you more than I already have. You have to do this on your own. Like, you need to tell her how you feel. Like, you need to do this on your own strength. Make your wish come true by your own strength. And I loved that. I loved that scene. Like, everything about this scene was fantastic. It was really, really solid. And then we got to talk a little bit about the school festival itself. And I suppose we'll actually just kind of keep hammering home the Kyo Toru thing for now. With Kyo actually shocked to see Kazuma backstage, getting flirted with by Hana, which was a lot. And he was apparently brought there by Haru, because of course he was. And Kyo was embarrassed because, you know, our boy Kazuma saw Kyo dressed up like a prince, you know? And Kyo even says, like, there's an adorable last moment where Kyo says to Haru, like, you wouldn't want your parents to see you like this either, right? And Kazuma's just like, aw, right? Because he's like, but parents, right? And, like, his face lights up. He's like, yay! It's like, oh, that was really sweet without meaning to be sweet. like Kyo like didn't even mean it like that, but like it was legitimately sweet. But to kind of continue pushing along the Kyotoru thing, the Kyoru thing, if you will. Toru talks to Uo for a brief moment about wants to talk to Uo about the Kureno moment, but doesn't. And again, I think it's just showing like all these characters are kind of in a relationship at this point. Everybody has somebody. At the very least, has somebody they're pining for. And Uo, like, just like you could tell, like Uo, like with that outburst she has during the play, like, come see me, damn it. Like Toru wants to do something, but obviously is trying to keep her distance, right? It's not her place, so she doesn't want to involve herself any more than she already has. And Momiji was recording the play, so Toru asks, like, can you put that on a DVD for me? And Momiji's like, let me guess, you want me to give that to Kureno, right? And of course Toru's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. And Momiji's like, bruh. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't say bruh, but he may as well have said bruh. Like, of course I knew who she was talking about. It's really clear. And again, it's just this idea that Toru is, like, trying to get other people together, but isn't aware that she has a relationship that she should be working on herself, which leads us to the big awkward scene with Kyo and Toru, where they have this awkward but really cute moment, and they're walking together over to Kisa and Hiro, who, poor Hiro, we'll get into Hiro in a sec, but yeah, they both decide in that moment to not think about the play, and it's literally starting to cause a divide between them. If they can just talk about their damn feelings, there wouldn't be this divide here. And like the fact that it's literally represented by a divide, right? And I'm like, oh my god, it's the crack from Doctor Who. But I'm like, oh man, like, just talk, right? It's like, just talk about your feelings. But at the same time, if you talk about your feelings, the show would be over. And I can't have that, right? So it's like, I don't know what I want. Because that's the thing with FruBa is it's like, oh, the drama is so good, but I also don't want it to end. But I need you guys to talk, but if you talk, the show's over. That is truly the conundrum of the drama series. It's difficult, but I do wonder when they'll talk about it, right? Because it's like I do really want them to have that conversation of like, I don't want you to go, right? Like I wonder when that's gonna happen. Maybe season 3, because I think we've only got like how many episodes is season 2? This is episode 23. There's only 2 episodes left. Holy shit. Holy crap. Because I think crap is less bad. I don't know, whatever. Oh my god, there's only 2 episodes left. I'm sad now. Anyway, I'm gonna briefly talk about Hiro's bad time before we get into the Machi and Yuki thing to end the video. Hiro's having a bad time. Poor Hiro, from having to keep an eye on Kisa, because the girl will be stealing lots of attention. There's like some dudes who are like, talk for us. Ooh, a foreigner. I'm like, bruh, she's like, get your creepy eyes off Kisa, you friggin' weirdos. I was like, ugh, gross. But Hiro's like, I am really sick of hanging out with you because I'm really sick of people creeping on you every time we hang out. Not that he's sick of hanging out with Kisa, he loves Kisa, but like, you know what I mean, where he's like, I'm really sick of this. Right? And just when he's like, okay, we made it to the damn school, now let's just go see the stupid play, and oh my god, somebody just grabbed Kisa, and it's Haru, right? He's like, oh my god, I hate today, right? Like, poor Hiro is just like, I hate today, because Hiro's trying to be nicer, right? So he's like, keep it in, be a man time, right? He's like, just control the rage monster. And that is when he is scared half to death by Megumi. And I was like, bro, where the hell have you been? All right. I was like, Megumi, dude, it's been forever. And it's Hana's little bro, if you've forgotten. And yeah, Megumi scares Hiro half to death. And I was like, why is he zoning in on Hiro of all people? And I was kind of like, are they going to be friends? Like, is that a thing? Like, are they going to be friends? I kind of want to see them be friends. I think that would be a good dynamic, like the awkwardness, like, because yes, Hiro has Kisa, but he doesn't have any like guy friends his age, you know. He needs his Kakaru, like he needs his own friend, right? He needs his Nakama, and Megumi could be his Nakama, right? Like Megumi could be his best buddy. I don't know if that would ever happen. Like they are very different in terms of personality, but I think that's part of the reason why it'd be fun to see these two become friends. So I was like, that'd be kind of cool. But of course, Hiro has to get over the fact that Megumi scared the shit out of him. And then there's the moment where he accidentally blurts out that he knows that Rin and Haru was a thing, over Makaharu. Wait, what? No, I mean Haru Rin from FruBa. Yeah, he knows, and Haru is cool enough to kind of play it off, where he's like, oh, you must have a crush on Rin. And Hiro's like, I hate you, you're stupid, and I hate you, let's go. But then Kisa accidentally thinks that he, like, was telling the truth and that, like, that Hiro actually likes Rin. And it's like, oh, God, Haru, you ruined things without meaning to. Hiro's having a bad day. Hiro is having a very, very bad day. Everybody else having fun at the festival. Hiro, not so much. My poor boy. And the last thing I'm going to talk about very briefly, because we have gone overtime, is Machi and Yuki. Machi Mouse, I was like Yuki in this scene, where I wanted to charge in and be like, you keep your hands and eyes away from Machi Mouse, you nefarious bitches. I don't want to see you anywhere near my girl. I will drop kick you through that window. Don't even think I won't. I will. If you even so much as glare at my girl Machi Mouse. I don't care how you feel about Yuki. You keep your nasty ass mitts off my girl. You hear me? We Gucci. You stay the hell away from her. You know what I mean? I was like that, and I literally had that moment of like, you get your damn hands off my girl. And I was like, man, I really like Machi. I was like, damn, I really care about Machi Mouse. I think it's just like the connection to Yuki that like really cemented it for me, but it's like, yeah, like be nice to Machi Mouse, damn it. Like she don't mean anything, right? And I hated seeing the Yuki fangirls like be mean to her, right? I think the thing with the Yuki fangirls is if it's like the main trio, like the ones that we've known, I have a little bit more leeway because they're usually shown to be like a punching bag. But the other fangirls who don't usually get screen time, they're like actually bad. Like some of like the Yuki fangirls are like legitimately like legit bullies. Like the other ones are bullies too, but they're more like Team Rocket bullies. But these ones, it's like, yeah, they are mean. And Yuki wants to jump in, but Kakeru's like, don't. And at first I was like, what are you talking about? Like they're bullying her. But Kakeru's like, you will make it worse. And I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of a good point actually. Like, yeah, like he would just make it worse. Shit. Right? It's like, that's a bad spot to be in. But Machi says like, Yuki's an airhead. And Yuki's like, cool, right? It's like, cool. That's what I wanted to hear. But yeah, Machi's like, yeah, he's an airhead, and he's not a prince, but he looks lonely, even when surrounded by friends. He seems separated from them. And Yuki's like, damn, like that's because he's listening in, right? So he's like, damn. I mean, that's facts, but like, damn. And it just shows like Machi's very perceptive, right? Like she is like a very perceptive character, and it's interesting how their dynamic is slowly building. And it's funny because like after like the girls leave, because Kakeru makes like a plan to be like, there's a photo shoot with Yuki, and so they all run. And one of them actually pushed my girl. I was like, I will actually tear your hand off. Like I was like, oh my god, you do not touch my girl. Like one of them actually like pushed her against the glass, and I was like, bruh. But regardless, Kakeru's smart, gets them out of there. And he has this moment where like Yuki tells him like, she called me an airhead, and he's like, I mean, you just noticed that now? It's like, why are you such a dick? You know what I mean? He's a lovable asshole, Kakeru, but he's like, you just noticed that now? And he's like, and she said that I look lonely, or like that I'm not a prince. That's what he said, that I'm not a prince. And Kakeru thinks back, and he's like, oh yeah. And I actually went back and rewatched the scene from season 1 where you see Machi and Kakeru show up. And it's the line where he says, like, he's as pretty as the rumors say. And Machi's like, but he, no, but he, like, and then ... and then, nothing. And Kakeru's like, what was that about? And then he realizes now, like, oh, that's what she meant, that you don't look like, that you're not a prince. Like, even though, like, everybody thinks you're pretty like a prince, like, that's not how she sees you. And that might have even been the moment where Machi first noticed that Yuki looks kind of down, even though he was, like, with Toru at the time, right? It's like he seems, like, sad, like, he seems lonely, even though he's part of a group. Maybe that's the moment Machi noticed it. Maybe it's because Machi's kind of the same, right? Like people, like Machi is sort of a princess, right? Given her status with her family, but she's lonely. So maybe Machi's just like, I recognize my own kind. Either way, I love the growing dynamic between Machi and Yuki, and it's just super sweet in this episode. But with that said, everybody, I'm going to wrap up my thoughts here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And of course, as always, I have to give a big, big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at these beautiful names. And hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are now 2 ways to do so. The first is by checking out that first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, and the second is by hitting that join button next to the sub button. You get yourself a badge for the comments and for the premiere chats, as well as some emotes to spam in said premiere chats. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and consider hitting that join button and joining the T Squadron today. Also, I do have something to tell you guys. Today, there is a bonus video. There is a video, actually should premiere like right after this one if I scheduled it properly. I worked kind of hard on it. I'm a little bit nervous about it. So if you guys could do me the favor, check it out. It's about free. It's a design time on the main Iwatobi crew, so if that sounds cool to you, consider checking it out. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, until next time, everybody, you stay classy, AnyTube, and wash your dang hands.